Up and Adam.
Tractor systems are offline.
We are Beyond FM.
Beyond FM.
The future of broadcasting is here.
Up and Adam with Adam Montiel. It's community content from Concentrate. It's Up and Adam with Adam Montiel.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Yes, some say life is just where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
Tuesday, let's go. Thanks for being Up and Adam. My name is Adam Montiel. Appreciate you connecting here. Later on the show, what happens when a local dentist with a very real career, a family, and a full life, right, realizes there's also like a fantasy author living inside her who wants to write about shapeshifters and stolen magic, secret communities, and Chinese mythology. That's exactly the story of a San Luis Obispo lady named Emily Renk Hawthorne, who spent years doing the responsible thing before finally making room for the weird, the wild, the creative thing that she couldn't shake. I do love a story like this. We talk about the pressure to choose stability, the moment she decided to take her writing seriously, and how a story about belonging turned into an entire multi-generational world of magic, memory, power, and even shape-shifting. It's not just a conversation for people who read or who read fantasy. It's really for anyone who's ever had a dream sitting quietly next to their day job, waiting for them to finally say, all right, let's just see what happens. That conversation's coming up. I'm really excited about it. Day 2 of the Carissa, the downtown location, just losing their shit on social media. Told you yesterday how they put some story up. Or let me see. I'm reading a thing. It's a crash after trip. I'm reading a thing on it. Yeah, you know, I'm literally getting messages about the Carissa now. And I can't read that one. But the people who own the Carissa now, they've been, and when I say low key crashing out, I'm not speaking ironically, like using the word low key like the way Gen Z does, because the way Gen Z uses low key, they mean very high key. They don't mean low key. It's like kind of sarcastic in a way. So, but I mean like, no, it's like this kind of underwhelming crash up that this place, the Carissa in downtown SLO, has been having over a liquor license that, I don't know, because there's been issues with that license before. They think people are blaming them, but they're the new owners. But the whole thing is that it's like this crisis management that they can't adopt. First, they put out this thing saying $1,000 reward for anyone who could say that we sold, you know, booze to a minor or whatever after November of 25. We're like, okay. What? And then they turn off their comments because, and there's like kind of misspellings and, you know, what kind of legal, you know, explanations on your page have like, you know, 3 exclamation points and they're just calling out previous owner. The whole thing it's just wild. So anyways, they had a thing today that says breaking news, time is up. No one presented any evidence whatsoever to claim the $1,000 reward. Well, you turned your comments off. I'm not saying that there is proof, but I'm just saying like, what a weird way to go about this. We're not surprised. So I would love to, interview these people. They're kind of odd to me, and I'm wondering who these new owners are. And these are the people who own Slow Brew Rock, like the venue, and I really like that venue and love a lot of the people there. So I'm kind of curious, like, what the F is going on? But anyways, a lot of people, and then, you know, I just did a little story on it today saying, you know, I'll trade free crisis management training if you throw a couple of those zero proof little nuggets that you talk about in your story and maybe do an interview. I'd love to know what's going on with these people. They're doing a zero proof 18 and over place in downtown SLO. Wonder what that could do. Now, you might immediately go thinking, oh, that's going to bomb. That's not going to work. It's going to fail. I swear to God, that place has been kind of cursed from the beginning. But think of like The Graduate back in the day. The Graduate back in the day wasn't downtown. It was down there by the radio station. And man, they would do 18 overnights and just kill it. Now, mind you, there's people dancing in cages, pretty much acting like, a salacious kind of go-go bar without the booze. But the way that the Graduate did it, they like had a whole other place separated off where you could buy booze. You'd have to keep it in there. But the other side, the main part was 18 and over. I don't know. My point is, just because they say 18 and over, you think you need booze sales doesn't mean that wouldn't work. I don't know that it'd be very easy to do. I don't know that it would work, but doesn't mean that it's impossible. But the Graduate was a long time ago. I remember when I first started working here, gosh, like in 03, 04, 05, we're talking when I was doing afternoons at Wild 106, and it'd be like, coming up to the Graduate tonight, don't miss Jay Swiss doing wet t-shirt contests, for the 18 and over. I was like, what? It's like, this is the beginning of my radio, towards the beginning of my radio career. Oh, well, all right. So who knows what's going on with the Carissa? No doubt they are crashing out. We'll see what ends up happening with it. But that is day 2 of it. Okay. It's getting warmer. We're going to get onto a little heat bender. And days like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yeah, we're going to be cooking. You're in the North County. You're coming up on some of those last days of the California Mid-State Fair. Yeah, you're going to be cooking. Even places like SLO, looking at temps in the mid to upper 80s. So we'll see how that goes down. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying this the way it was. I don't need it to get hotter. Lady I Fancy was like, I think we're going to have a warm rest of our summer. She may be right. We might be getting right into that. Who knows? All right, before we get into our chat with Emily, who is this an incredible, it's going to be a great conversation. I'm excited to share it with you. I want to talk about our friends at the Mountain Air. I love these folks. They do such great work. Local, they've been local for over 50 years, helping locals get outside at all skill levels, hiking, camping, climbing. Maybe you want a big, cozy Patagonia jacket. Those should be on sale right now because it is hotter than blazes outside. My mom used to say that, hotter than blazes. I don't know if she was saying hotter than blazes or hotter in blazes, but she would just go hotter than blazes. Yeah, it was cute. All right. So we love my friends at the Mountain Air. Started by a guy named Wayne Patterson, who's OG. Now it's owned by Josh and Lindsay Herring. Just a beautiful couple, beautiful people. They have a beautiful family, and they do it all as beautiful neighbors. Check them out. Show them some love. And really thank them for not just supporting and keeping it local with who they serve, but keeping it local with the dollars that they earn. They're supporting local media, new media, local broadcasting with this ad right here. I love them. They're great people. Check them out, themountaineer.com. Couple doors down, theswitchback.com. The Mountain Air, San Luis Obispo.
It's Up and Adam with Adam Montiel.
All right, today's guest she's already built a career, a family, a life that made sense on paper. She's a dentist. She'd done the schooling, put in the hours, chosen the responsible path. But somewhere inside all of that was a fantasy author who wanted to write about stolen magic, Chinese mythology, shapeshifters, and secret communities hidden in California. Instead of ignoring that part of herself, she started taking classes, built the habit, wrote the book, and created the Of Mountains and Seas series. She's a San Luis Obispo author, a dentist, a mom, and a pretty great example of what can happen when you finally make room for the thing that keeps calling you. Welcome on the show, Emily Renk Hawthorne. Excited to meet you. Excited to have you up and at 'em.
Thank you so much.
Now, I was really kind of, when I first learned about you, it was really interesting because you kind of grew up around Chinese language, traditions, festivals, culture, and this is kind of from your mom's side of the family, right?
Yes.
But I'm kind of curious, when you first started writing this specific series, were you intentionally kind of exploring your heritage, or was that kind of part of the story? Did it just kind of reveal itself as you went in a way?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I don't think I set out to explore myself, but then that definitely is what happened. That's definitely what happened. And I think that's like a wonderful thing about writing, is that you end up really learning a lot about yourself and why you are writing what you're writing. Like, it reveals a lot about yourself and your history.
One of the things that makes the series stand out is that you bring Chinese mythology into kind of this very Western, Northern California setting, this vibe. I kind of thought that was pretty cool. What made you want to place those traditions in a landscape that felt more like the world you grew up in?
I think growing up in California, I read a lot of fantasy. I pretty much only read fantasy and science fiction growing up. And I always wanted to see myself in that type of world. So this was me trying to recreate my childhood, or a story for my childhood for that child.
I think it's so interesting because authoring, whether it's authoring books or it's doing this or that, sometimes these passions are so unique that people from other walks of life, vocations, always find their way back to it, right? I think winemaking, as I've interviewed a lot of winemakers, is like another thing where like, I've been in tech for 26 years and always wanted to make wine, and here I am, And you're a dentist.
Yes.
And here, this other piece of you, because that's obviously a lot of education, a lot of hard work. I mean, it's an incredible service that you're providing for people. And then here it's this like fantasy author living inside, just waiting to burst out.
Yeah, I think that definitely comes from my parents as well. It's kind of funny because growing up, they had the very strong mindset of like, you need to choose a career that's financially stable. But at the same time, they were both aerospace engineers, but they both also had a very artistic side to them. They would paint. My dad would write some stories. My dad's very into plays and reading. He's the one who is the big reader and got me into reading. And my mom's a really great artist, too, on the side. So they both had that in them as well, even though they were always pushing for do the financially stable thing. So I think within me, that just finally came out later.
And was there any part of your, like, how does the culture play into it? I don't know what your dad is, but like, how did the culture play into like, okay, yes, you have this, creative mind that you need to foster, but you need to do X, Y, and Z. I love how you kind of brought that up. Talk about that.
Yeah, so my dad's of German heritage, but many generations back, so pretty much just American at this point. But my mom's born and raised in Taiwan. Her family's from China. And I think going through, like, she grew up in poverty. They were displaced by the war. And when she came here, she pretty much had to, like, work her way up from nothing. And I think coming from a background like that, you're very much focused on do the financially responsible thing. It doesn't matter what you like to do. You have to do what's good for your survival and for your family.
Yeah. So when when did your mom learn of this, blossoming artist and author inside of you that just wanted to get out? And how did you kind of, introduce that side of you more to the world?
I think when I started taking, so back in 2019 is when I finally got myself, I said, I'm going to start working towards this goal of wanting to write a novel. So I signed up for some online writing courses, and a lot of it was building the habit. So little by little, when I would do these prompts for the class, I think I would share them with my family, just ask them what they thought. Especially when I started getting into like trying to explore the Chinese cultural side, I'd ask my mom a lot of questions. But I also learned through that my view of Chinese culture is very much only in the lens of my immediate family and their communities and does not represent the culture as a whole. And I think a lot of times when you're young, you think, oh, I'm half Chinese, so I know everything about Chinese culture. But of course, that is not true. It's huge, and there's so many different types of people and language and cultures within that.
Yeah. Well, your mom, family, you go back at all?
To Taiwan, yeah. My grandma was born in Shandong in China, and I believe she has family there. But I've never been to China yet. I would love to go, but to Taiwan several times to visit family.
That's so cool. Let me ask you a question about living in that part of the world. When us hears headlines of China, Taiwan, what is family of yours? What do they think of that? How do they view like possibilities of this or that, or who we belong to kind of stuff? How do they look at that kind of those headlines?
There is a lot of political discord within the family too, of people who take different sides.
Sure.
And
so there's some people who do both.
Yeah. So some favor one side, some favor the other, and that has caused some conflict. But I think it's always spread across where no matter what you believe and think is right, there's always the other side who thinks the other side's right.
Yeah. these stories, you get into some weird, cool stuff. I mean, we're talking shapeshifters. Shapeshifters are fun because they give you mystery, they give you a little magic, and and identity kind of all at once. Did you choose shapeshifters mainly because they were exciting for you to write, or because they gave you kind of a way to talk about maybe fitting in?
A little bit of both, I think. Yeah, I think when I first started getting into the idea of using shapeshifters, I was exploring a lot more of Chinese mythology because there were certain ones I had grown up and I was very familiar with, but then I went on a Wikipedia deep dive into a lot of other Chinese mythology that I just wasn't as familiar with, and different creatures coming up where I was like, wow, these are so cool. How could I use them in a story? And that's what gave me the idea to start using them as shapeshifters. And in that way, too, it shows that they have brought part of their culture with them through the generations, even though people were born and raised in California, but they still have this shapeshifter form that alludes back to their culture.
Now, for someone who doesn't know, shapeshifting, I mean, would you call it like time traveling in a way? Or it's like literally what
they just change form. Their physical body can change into
other things. Okay, not moving through time so much, but just like turning from, let's say, an inanimate object to something else.
So like from a human into a dragon.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Awesome. So, I love that. I love that creativity. And when you are writing in this way, are these things that just, it's your imagination, or is it some sort of, look, I mean, we're in a time now, Emily, we're like, a little bit of conspiracy. Everyone believes a little bit of something going on, right?
Yes.
Now, I mean, are these for things that maybe like you kind of fantasize in a way, like, I don't know, this, I want to write about this, like this could be real, or is it just ultimate imagination for you?
With the shape-shifting, I feel like that was my imagination, but I definitely think I feel like the more you learn, the more you know nothing.
Right.
So at this point in my life, I'm open to finding out about anything. If someone suddenly came to me and said like, oh, look, shapeshifters are real, then I'd be like, oh, okay. I don't even know if I'm surprised,
Right. Like, I totally get it. So you've talked about like feeling very connected to your Chinese family and that community, while also realizing later that belonging can be kind of a little bit more complicating than it first appears. How did your own experience of belonging, and occasionally maybe not quite belonging, really find its way into these characters you're writing?
Yeah, I think with the teenage characters especially, I would explore aspects of my childhood through each of them. Like one character who was more shy and reserved, and there's another one who's more outgoing. And while in the book they're separate characters, I feel like they were both like aspects of different parts of my personality and ways that I tried to fit in or follow what my family wanted.
You live here in SLO, right? Mm-hmm. And writers are always kind of borrowing from the places around them, the light, the landscape, like maybe the people, just the mood. Are there pieces of SLO-Cal hiding in these books, even if readers might not even immediately recognize them?
Yeah, definitely the whole California coastal atmosphere. When I first started writing this, I'd just gotten back from a trip from Eureka, California. So all the redwoods, coastal redwoods and everything up there. And that's why there's a lot of that in the story. But definitely just that coastal atmosphere and the small town feeling went into that.
Now, there's kind of something special about seeing someone from your own community publish a book and really build a world that travels well beyond where you are, where it was written. What does it mean to you to kind of be introduced not as just an author, but as a San Luis Obispo author?
I think it's been, the whole community has been amazing. I feel like I am a more positive and better person from discovering this book community because people have been so welcoming. I think before I wrote my own book, it's like really easy to be a reader and to critique something because, it takes you a few days to read it, maybe a week, where it took maybe the author years. And as the reader, it can be really easy to look at it and be like, oh, they should have done this, or I didn't like this part and all that. And then after going through the process of becoming an author, meeting other authors, lots of readers, and a lot of really just genuinely welcoming, positive, nice people. They, I think it's just really been great.
Well, what do you say to other people who are going like, God, I got this like story burning inside me, or, you know, I think like I could do this. Is it too tough? Is it too expensive? How does somebody kind of jump in the way you did in 2019 with classes, and now here we go with a fiction series?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to develop the habit. So I would say even with the classes, so I took classes for a little over a year, and then I have a friend locally who likes to write, so we started meeting like once a week.
Like writing together?
Yeah, we'd meet like at a cafe for a couple of hours once a week just to keep us on track.
And what do you do? Like share with them what you're writing and they do the same? Or do you go like, let's write a story together and bounce back? What do you do?
So we write different genres. So yeah, we would kind of talk about where we were in our current writing, and then we would just write.
And they would be like, okay, they would listen to you and kind of let, they were like a listening board, and they would say, oh, Emily, what if you did this with that character? And like, is that what I'm trying to understand, like how you would collaborate?
For us, it wasn't as much collaborating versus keeping each other accountable.
Okay.
Like, we're here to write, so let's get some writing done.
Oh, got it. Okay, so like pretty quiet. You're doing your thing, they're doing theirs.
And then, but she's great too, because when we read each other's work when we're ready for that first reader. So then she gives great commentary afterwards.
We always talk about this area in like, we're not a big market, San Francisco, we're not a Los Angeles, but the talent here in all kinds of facets are so big market.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting. We're not obviously a publishing hub, a publishing, epicenter in San Luis Obispo. So what has being a writer here given you that maybe you wouldn't have been able to find in a bigger place, a bigger city?
I think the community, like it was easier to find a community in this smaller, like more condensed area. And I also just think the pace of life makes people more willing to reach out and help each other. A lot of times I did live in Los Angeles for over 10 years, and everything's so busy. There's so much traffic. You're always on the way somewhere. So I think it just makes it harder to stop and be like, oh, you do this, let me connect you with someone. I mean, it is there too, but I think it's just a more welcoming feel when you have that slower pace and that smaller community.
The premise of the first book is immediately interesting because it's like some people are born with magic and others, you can only get it if you get it from someone who has it, right? Where did that kind of idea come from?
I think I was thinking of like the outsider, the starting with the character that didn't fit in, but they were born into that community. And then kind of going from there, thinking like, how can that person achieve belonging?
Yeah.
And so that kind of just went into, maybe there are these stones and they're magical stones that allows them to steal the power from someone else. And then that brought in the idea of like, okay, now they belong, but what consequences have they caused by it?
Was that a little you? When we talk about belonging, I feel like, I feel we all struggle with it, no matter how talented one person is. Or, I've talked to like, I was talking to an actor about this recently. Who's the dude who played La Bamba? Not Benicio del Toro. Who's Lou Diamond Phillips? I was talking to Lou Diamond Phillips about imposter syndrome. And here's a person like, by all accounts, like Lou Diamond Phillips. Why would this guy have imposter syndrome? But like we all get it in some form or another. And belonging, I think when you talk about that, I always go, man, that's a really kind of reflective thing to get into. Yeah.
And I think even when you achieve belonging, there's belonging in different social circles as well. And, you do a little of that code switching every time you go in with different groups. So I think that I explore that a little bit in the story, where that one main character, once they steal powers and they start to get a taste of belonging, but is it enough? Is it enough to fill in every aspect of their life?
Is it hard to write a book?
I think definitely a hard part is sticking with it to the end.
Yes.
Because in the beginning, I was writing by inspiration. You have like all these moments of like, oh, that would be cool to put in it. Like you wake up all excited, you write that scene, and then you're like, but now what? Now the exciting part's done and I have to get to the next part. And that's where the habit comes in, like having to sit down, actually write when you don't feel like it.
Oh, yeah. Is it writing itself for you, Emily, or is it like writing fantasy? Like, I love writing fantasy. Like, I think of you going like, oh my God, how cool would it be if you wrote a kid's book with like fantasy and dentistry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like hygiene. Like, is that just completely boring to you? Or do you go, no, that's not a bad idea either? Like, how vast and varied is your writing desires?
I think I would always love a little speculative like side to it, a little bit of magic. But definitely the books I'm currently working on are outside. Like these two were urban fantasy. I'm currently working on a historical fantasy, like reimagining of a classic tale.
Yeah.
Kind of like Celtic Ireland time. And then another one that's like a contemporary romance, but with fantasy aspects as well. So I definitely can see myself bridging different genres, but I still love that little bit of magic. I think, it just makes it more exciting.
What do you like? What else is kind of encompassing your hobbies? What do you like to do here when you live in SLO?
Hiking is a good one, but now I have a 3-year-old, so we don't get to do the big trails anymore, but kind of like Montaña de Oro, the nice flat cliff trails along the cliffs there, really nice.
Who are your books for? Like, what age are we talking?
I think like 14 and up. There's nothing explicit in the books, but the structure of it is more complex because we have like 5 or 6 different points of view, and we also have 2 to 3 different timelines that come together. So it's for someone who is okay jumping back and forth between stories until they all come together.
What's the biggest dream of an author of you? Like, what do you? Is it to see one of these being acted out in a feature film?
That would be awesome.
Is it to be? What is it?
Well, for me, I think personally it'd be awesome to be completely 100% author, financially viable as an author. I'm not at that point yet, but that would be definitely a dream. But of course, if HBO or Netflix came knocking, I'd be like, yeah, that'd be so cool to see it.
So this is what really ignites you. So you would literally leave dentistry if the knock came on your door. We would figure a way to do this full time.
Yes, definitely.
That's so cool.
I love it. Like I, it's one of those like time warps. When I start writing and I'm into something, it'll be like 7 in the morning and I look up at 7 at night and I'm like, oh my God, where'd the time go? And I just get into that flow.
Part of doing what you love, and I've been blessed for the last like 25 plus years to do that. A lot of these careers, they don't make a ton of money. You talk about your wine, interview with a ton of winemakers. You talk to people in like broadcasting, radio. Certain aspects, you don't make a mint doing it, but there are riches all throughout. Someone who's a dentist, you go like, you probably do all right. You probably do pretty good. But if you could go full time being an author, would you be willing to be like, okay, I'm willing to kind of sacrifice normally what I used to know as like this like living wage I would have for full time as that? Do you ever think about that?
Yeah, I do. I think it would be great to, there's give and takes on both sides.
Sure.
But yeah, just doing something you love is really great. Like if you could have all your bases covered financially, like to have that thing you love is amazing.
I think that's so cool. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you so much.
Tell me the name of the books, the names of the series, and then where can people learn more about you?
So the series is Of Mountains and Seas, and book 1 is also called Of Mountains and Seas, and book 2 is From the Depths. And they can go to my website, www.emilyrenkhawthorne.com.
I'll put all the links in the show notes, too.
Awesome. And then I'm also on TikTok at eRenk Hawthorne and Instagram and Facebook at Emily Renk Hawthorne.
How's the TikTok and Instagram doing? Are we feeding it? Are we trying to like build on there?
Yeah. So I just got through the launch for book 2 at the beginning of June. So that was like daily posting for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Sure.
And I think I took a little break after that. So now I'm back to about like once a week. I think that's usually between big releases and launches. I try to do once a week. When I first started, I was doing the like every day for months to build and train the algorithm.
Yeah.
But that part of it is not my love of the writing and then like marketing aspect.
Do we want people to go to like your website to buy this book, or like if I go buy it on Amazon, you don't care? I bought the book.
So for a new author coming out, it is really awesome to buy it. I hate to say it, but like, Amazon is the market leader and takes a big chunk of market space. So by people going and purchasing my book there gives me the most visibility as a
Amazon.
new author.
So you prefer that?
Amazon or the other, like I'm also at all the international places like Kobo. Google Play, Apple, Barnes and Noble.
What about your audiobooks? Have you done those?
Yeah, so I have an audiobook for book 1. Book 2, not yet, but sometime in the next year. No, I wish I could, but I think like a lot of people, I hate the sound of my voice and I can't do accents. I would sound incredibly offensive.
So they fully act it out and stuff.
Yeah, the narrator is Natalie Naudis, and she won like some audiobook awards, and she's amazing.
So like when different characters talk, she'll talk like quote them.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's
like you're
cool.
like an actor, a voice actor.
Yeah, at that point, literally you are. Yeah. I've never done an audiobook fiction before.
Oh, okay.
So I've always wondered, do they act this out or what is this? Pretty cool. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed meeting you. You know what I think we should do? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'd love for you to give me a book, autograph it, and let's give it to a listener.
Yeah,
would you be down for that?
Sure.
That'd be rad. So you can go to adamontiel.com. You can just click the connect tab, and the first one in that says, I heard Emily, I want that book. We'll give you which one, the first one, or what do you think?
Yeah, if Mountains and Seas get your foot in the door.
Yeah, and you're already here, so you could just grab one, sign it, and then I'll give it to a listener.
Yes, definitely.
That's really kind of you. Thank you for letting me put you on the spot. And more, thank you for your time, and thank you for being up and Adam, Emily.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.
Good. Great show. That was fun.
Yes, thank you.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
All right, Emily, thank you for hanging with us. Love that story. Thanks for coming to the SoCal Studios, the series of Mountains and Seas. Book 1 is that same title. Book 2 is From the Depths. You can learn more. Emily Renk Hawthorne.com. Renk is RENK. But don't worry, I got all the links at your fingertips, including Instagram, TikTok, all of it in the show notes. Also to Amazon, where you can pick up that book. And if you go to adamontiel.com, hit the connect tab and be the first person to say, yes, I heard Emily. And yes, I would love this book. We got a signed one for you from the author. So thank you for your time, Emily, your story, and for being up and Adam. All right. Like I said, getting warmer as the week progresses. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, going to be some super warm days, making the last weekend of the California Mid-State Fair a hot one for sure. How's it been? I feel like it's kind of been dying down. I've been seeing like videos, pics of it. Looks like, I don't know if the heat's keeping people away or the concerts are just kind of like, So, but we'll see how it's going. I have not made my way up to the fair yet. I was going to go last Friday, and then I just got into some things. So I wanted to go see, like Janelle get winemaker of the year. But to be honest, still so many people go, are you working the fair? You're working the fair? I mean, gosh, Jeremy and I did, when the Cork Works was a thing, we did that, 10 plus years in a row. That's 12 times 10. That's 120 fair days nonstop. There should be a Blue Ribbon Award for that. I mean, we did the fair. I mean, I have more fair inside of me than, my feet are still permanently dirty from the sandals and all the fair going that I've done. But I miss doing that with Jeremy, like what we used to do. But like the fair is brutal. Trying to figure out how to get your hands on like industrial big ass fans to cool you down. And I mean, it is a brutal, brutal time up there. So it has been kind of fun to, enjoy the fair from afar of late. But I loved having Colleen on earlier. She was on Where Wine Takes You last week. That was pretty cool. So definitely get your fair on because you got just a couple days to do it. All right. Want to thank our friends Moonshiner Collective for being up and Adam original music on this show. It's called Start Again. You can check out their Under the Moon concert series August 14th, moonshinercollective.com for more. Don't forget our friends at Benny's Pizza. Happy hour today, 4:30 to 6:30. 3.5 domestic cans, $2 off premium beer and wine. Food specials that hit the spot, and no one does it. Yeah, I told you we got like 30 different pizza restaurants in SLO. Nobody like Benny's. That Detroit-style pan-fried goodness. Check it out. Links in the show notes to Benny's Pizza. They're on Upper Monterey, 1601 Monterey Street, San Luis Obispo. All right, now, this show recorded at our SoCal studios in the heart of San Luis Obispo County, California. SoCal, where the wine is world class, the people are real, and life is too beautiful to rush. For turns well taken, visit slowcal.com. That's SLOCAL, slowcal.com. Till tomorrow, I hope you have a great day. Thanks again for hanging out, for connecting, for being up and at 'em.
Some say life's where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again. Let's start again.